What's happening? Andy here. I'm joined by Phil Joseph of ConnectWise. How are you, Phil? What's happening?
I'm great, Andy. Appreciate you having me. How are you?
I am great. What's happening? Where are you today? Are you down at headquarters?
I am in Tampa, Florida, which is in our headquartered, global headquarters, yeah, for ConnectWise.
All right. We are up here. We are big Bucks fans, as you and I discussed offline already. So go Bucks. Big kickoff this weekend.
Yes, sir.
We did a really nice interview with Aziz from ConnectWise, your new chief business officer. And now we want to take it down and have a conversation with someone who's a little more involved in the OT space, the office technology space, the
Sure.
dealers, the resellers. And I'm told you're that guy.
I am one guy in a large group of people focused on this vertical in this industry, but I am certainly in the middle of it.
So let's just real brief. Tell me what, again, just in case someone didn't see the Aziz interview, what is ConnectWise? Who are you guys? And then tell us, how long you've been there. What do you do? What's your new role?
Sure.
What do you do for them?
So ConnectWise is 40 plus years in the making, started out as an MSP, transitioned into software by default. In my opinion, ignorantly speaking, I think we created the MSP channel, if you will. Over the years, we've established a very large technology suite to help small to medium sized businesses execute on their ambitions, find their mission. And through that, the managed service providers are a critical footprint within this ecosystem. And that's who we sell to and service through. So, to your point, there's a vertical within that, the office technology space or the OEM dealers, very large entities on the print side, and several of them have made the transition into managed services for the recurring revenue. And we've been thankful to support that journey. In fact, quick shout out, if I'm allowed, Novatech guys, Dan, Dave, Billy, congratulations, well deserved, phenomenal growth strategy there and way to execute. Really proud of you guys and happy to see that you're able to do it. And thank you for partnering with us through that journey. And then to answer your last point, Andy, I've been with ConnectWise for about 5 years. In the first 2 years, I was focused on the net new logo acquisition side. And then more recently, about a year or two back, transitioned into overseeing all of private equity and office technology from the frontline sales, land, expand, and grow motions.
So office technology, I mean, that's a huge bunch of roles you've got in there, by the way. So everything from acquisitions into office technology, and we're going to focus on the dealers, the resellers that are going to be watching this video for the most part. Um, what? Tell me about the opportunity and the changes within ConnectWise over the last couple of years when looking at this community, this B2B channel of resellers that accounts for $6 to $7 billion in revenue.
Sure. So when I first joined ConnectWise back in 2020, I believe it was 2019, 2020, recent acquisition of Continuum had just taken place. Continuum had a large footprint in this space through their expert services motion. And when I started, what I realized and what we quickly as a company realized, we had a lot of advocates from the legacy side of the business before we became ConnectWise under one flag. And what we noticed was, to your point, huge footprint in the dealer space, huge footprint in the OEM side, and a lot of them were starting to make the transition to managed services. The challenge they were facing was not necessarily their first motion, right? So learning how to do, the managed services, whether it was cybersecurity, whether it was endpoint management, whether it was just IT holistically, if you will. We had a lot of expert services we would bolt on, whether it was through help desk, dedicated technicians, remote monitoring and management, a standardized motion on a PSA so they could incorporate with ECI. There's a lot of things that, technologically and motion sense wise, had to come to fruition and understanding. And since then, fast forward to now, I want to say that we've seen about, I'm going to start from the beginning and end now, but 400% growth, at least in that time frame. And you're talking 4 years. And that's a testament to the partnerships we've had with these dealers, a testament to what their sales organizations, their leadership teams have been able to accomplish. And more than anything, the impact they have in their local economies, right? You take some of those guys, let's say their business goes down for a day. So does a very large footprint of businesses and organizations that they're supporting. So huge catalyst for the space to be successful. And we're fortunate to have a dedicated focus team specifically on the dealers and the OEM side.
Well, it sounds like you guys are ramping up the effort in this. You kind of alluded to the fact that you made it sound like you caught some people's attention. The continuum piece was, I would say, more heavily loaded, and it was a smaller company back then, obviously, with people who were very focused on office equipment industry, dealers. I think actually Novatech, I think Dan Cooper was part of that
Yeah.
continuum group back then. And yes, congratulations to Novatech for that huge win that they just had this week with that sale. but back to this, as you moved into ConnectWise, I did feel like, maybe there was a period where, and it was an integration thing maybe, but where everything kind of got lost and the momentum that I think Continuum had, they lost a little bit of it, and you clearly reinvigorated that over the last couple of years. I mean, I can't tell you how many meetings I went to, and I go to a lot of meetings, but Schweitzer was at all of them, your predecessor in this role. Jenna has been at a ton of them since she's come on board. And then tell me a little bit more. You mentioned offline. You went and visited 15 different people in your new role that you just started.
Yeah,
Tell me what that was about, because this is part of the whole message, the whole,
yeah.
like, focus on that group.
I would say it was really just about education and understanding, right? So ConnectWise was truly a technology service provider. The Continuum acquisition brought in expert services through a security operations center, a network operations center, dedicated technicians help desk, more of an expert services model, which aligns very well with what the dealers were trying to do by not spinning up a whole business unit, but executing on a deliverable strategy. I didn't necessarily personally understand that very well. So rather than try to ask internal people for theoretical insights, got on the road, met some great dealers. I'll give Billy Turner a shout out. He was probably my shepherd and mentor in that journey. Spent a lot of time with Billy Turner from Novatech actually, and at first it started off as a security discussion, just product related, and spent a lot of time in Atlanta, going to see him, sitting in his office, and just asking him, "What do you need? How do you do it? What's the focus? How can we do better? How can I do better as a leader in this organization?" And Billy gave us some very critical insights and very impactful feedback. And what I did was take that to our leadership team. And with that, and their trust in me and my trust through Billy, really appreciate at the time, Jason McGee, former CRO Clint Maddox, Gavin Gamber, my vice president at the time. They gave me full autonomy to execute on the strategy that we built. And a lot of that has to do with what we learned in the channel, right? We learned that from the dealers. We understood where we had some gaps. We understood how they were going to market, and we just had to align our service delivery model with what they needed. And by doing that, we've had a lot of excellent success in that channel. My goal is to, do 400% every year, honestly, because that means those guys are just executing flawlessly in their motions. And I think by keeping, to your point, the John Schweitzer legacy forward, of Jenna now, myself, and all the other internal colleagues we have, we just dedicated a full-blown business unit specifically to office technology. It's always existed, but now it's like a full dedicated motion with account management support all the way through the workflows on the back end. So, yeah, I'm really excited about what ConnectWise is doing in this space, and I'm really excited about the dealers trusting us to help them reach their investment thesis or visions and grow.
But I noticed, I would say I really noticed a change probably with your last IT Nation Connect, and you've got another one coming up, and we'll talk about that
Mm-hmm.
in a few minutes. But so the last IT Nation Connect, I sat in a breakout with a bunch of really big dealers that were at the event, and I see dealer. It's such a big show, right? So to run into someone on the floor is hard, and you don't necessarily. It's not like a BTA show. It's not like some of the other smaller shows that we tend to have in our world. You had 5,000 plus people at this event. So, just to run into someone, it's not going to happen. But you had on the floor, you had companies like ECI, you mentioned, CEO Juice was there with
Yeah,
them. You had Great
great partner.
America. These are, in industry companies that you see at all the shows that we would normally attend, and suddenly they're in your world, right? So you had that breakout session that was dealers only,
Yep.
with some high level presentations there that I thought was really, really neat, and something new that you hadn't done at the previous show that we had attended. That at least I didn't remember it. So that show seemed like you carved out a little bit more for these guys and treated them a little, as a group, not just part of the whole umbrella of all of your customers there. There was a focus.
No, that's a great point. So, Jenna Miner on our team does a great job with the Dealer Advisory Council. It's representative of some of our largest partners in that space. And, I think the feedback I'll paraphrase that I interpreted was, we IT Nation's great. We love it. What about a unique focus on the dealers, right? Because albeit they have a similar goal, they are different, right? They require different focus. So with that feedback, Jenna's done a great job evangelizing. She's done a great job making sure myself and other leaders in our organization have, our ear to the ground on what's needed. And with that, the Dealer Advisory Council has given us some insight and some feedback. And what we're doing, to your point, is continuing that investment in that space. We're carving out a dealer specific track in the near future so they have their own dedicated motion. We have IT Nation code specific to the OT dealers, where I want to say Jenna currently has a very reasonable number of tickets that she can work through. And any individuals that want to attend, we'd love to have you and show you what we're doing. But to your point, I mean, it just goes back to where we started, right? The investment and the trust from our leadership team and listening to our partner base in the dealer channel. It's been an amazing relationship that, we still have a lot of work to do on our end to get where we want to be with them. All good things though, nothing, no detractors in that statement. But to your point, yeah, I mean, we're very focused on making sure that we understand their business needs are different, their growth capabilities are a little bit different. And, the IT Nation community certainly is going to support a dealer focused motion, as well as some IT Nation roadshows we've done where several dealers have been our keynotes and, our partner panel. Several of them sit on our advisory panel at the executive level today. So they have a definite voice in our product, our vision, and our mission to execute on what they need in the space.
It's been really awesome watching the change that's and the increase in focus that you have on the resellers, on the dealers, right? Especially since the first IT Nation, it was several years ago, the first one I went to at this point, and just seeing more and more, just I wouldn't say it's taken over, but it's been noticeable. Like I said, ECI's got a booth with Gary and CEO Juice, and Great
Yeah.
America had their, had a theme booth last year. I'm trying to remember, there might have been some others, and I expect to see more as we go forward. When we look at the office equipment channel, right, I'm going to put us into three groups for you. You've got one group that wants nothing to do with IT. We'll just kind of shoot them over here. We've got one group that is doing really well with IT and probably knows all about you, is already sending people to IT Nation Connect. They were probably a lot of the companies that were in that room of dealers that you guys were presenting to in your breakout sessions. And then you've got that one group that's, struggling. Either they're just getting into it, or maybe they've been into it for 5 years. They can't figure out how to make any money. Two groups here. We've talked a little bit about, the ones that you're already working with. What do you see? What do you say to these guys that are in that middle group that are just getting into it? What can ConnectWise help them with? How can you help make this easier for them?
I'm going to address all three groups in the same
All
answer,
right.
Andy. So the people that want nothing to do with it, that's a strong stance. Awareness obviously helps in a lot of ways, right? And the more we can advocate, by the way, appreciate you having us on this podcast. Hopefully we reach that audience, but a lot of it might just be awareness, right? It's not that they don't want anything to do with it. Maybe they just aren't aware of it or don't know how, to your point. So the ones that are on that cusp of, I don't know how, or I kind of get it, I'm struggling, how do I help? ConnectWise has a full blown built ecosystem where we have expert services where we can support from something we call a partner development strategy, where we can sell with them, sell through them, sell on their behalf as an extension of their brand, not representing ConnectWise, of course. But my point is, we have an infrastructure that aligns them to technical resources for onboarding, hyper automation within our platform, where we're getting to a point. Hopefully, I'm not letting too much out of the bag here, Jake. So if I am, my apologies. But we're to a point where we can start to get to a gold image type of release, where when you onboard PSA, gone are the days where you're looking at a very intense onboarding process, very nuanced and detailed. We're automating everything through our technology, through our vision of technology for hyper automation and scale. And a lot of those things make it easier to do business with ConnectWise. In the past, to your point, some of the struggles they may have faced, or some of our partners currently possibly face, is that the technology can do whatever you want it to do. The challenge is, does our end partner have the bandwidth and resources to set it up? Because it does take a pretty reasonable amount of time to set it up the right way. But it's like anything else. If it's onboarded well, the retention's well, it retains well. If it's onboarded poorly, you never really got to realize the value of your investment. And then you're not sure if it's good, bad, or you made the wrong choice, right? So a lot of the things we're doing through our support model, our onboarding model, our technology in general, and really just our ecosystem surrounding how we go to market with these, whether it's dealer or non-dealer, all of this is feedback we focused on to really support the people that don't have the awareness, want to try it, or are really just having success with us in general. Regardless of where you are in that journey, we have support, we have solutions, and we have resources that can help people realize their ambitions and ultimately get away from, the human capital burden and automate through technology and time to value mechanisms.
I just couldn't believe, the access to how many just different technologies and companies that are in your essentially in your catalog, right? That these guys, there's no way they'd find out about a lot of them unless they had somebody that they were working with that kind of put this together in a collective way that I can really see, this is cyber, this is insurance, cyber insurance. Maybe you need something information on that. I mean, you guys cover all of it for them. Let's, as we wind down, I do want to talk about IT Nation Connect because that's coming up in November, and
Yep.
the big boys are there. I saw the Novatex, I saw Dex, even Dex was there, and they had their people there. I'm trying to think, Marco was there. You had all the big names. POA, I think, was there. Uh, what do we do to get this next level down? Why should they come? If I'm not a Dex, if I'm not a POA, I'm not at that level. Why do I need to come? If I'm a medium-sized dealer.
I think that's more the reason to come, right? If you see, it's like some of the entities you've mentioned, if you see what they're doing and you're like, why can't I do that? The answer is you could do it. Investing in that motion through whether it's recurring revenue with us, managed services, IT delivery models, whatever the case may be, it's a wealth of information, knowledge, and industry experience. It's not a ConnectWise technology event. It's a community-centric event. The IT Nation is standalone from ConnectWise. The IT Nation's goal, mission, and focus is to expand technology awareness, education, and just really brokering camaraderie between other business owners that have like-minded goals. How do we become successful, deliver a phenomenal product, maintain an appropriate income for our families and our employees? But at the end of the day, the goal is to raise and elevate the community as a whole. So if you're MSP one or dealer one, and you want to be at the breadths of some of the entities you mentioned, what a great place to go and meet them and talk to them. I mean, everybody's willing to share their experience. They're willing to share how they got there, to help you, maybe not pay for the same mistakes they did by just giving you that guidance. And outside of that, the community, the showcase in itself, it's a wealth of knowledge. And, I think that even if I wasn't in the IT space, if I stumbled upon that event, I would walk out of there as a better business owner, a better sales leader, a better person in general, just because of how awesome the community really is.
Well, it's got to probably have something to do with the community, but it's to your point, it's an exciting event, right? There's a huge buzz to it. It's not like the stuff that I attend with, the guys we see at all the events every year. Office equipment is a little more conservative. This is it's just fun. It's exciting. You've got people dressed up in cosplay outfits. There's a lot of youth. There's a lot of, I would say, younger people there that, a lot of super techie, dare I say nerdy, and I'm one of them, I guess. But it's just a really cool event. It really is, and there's over 5,000 people. So I mean, when you walk into that room and you see end to end, just the solutions, and everybody's got a gimmick trying to get your attention. Everyone's, there's t-shirts being given out, and there's prizes people are trying to get you to win, and it's just a really fun couple of days. And then you walk out of there and you met with a bunch of really uh, I just good contacts, I guess is the best way to say it. Just you had some fulfilling conversations, some really, you met people who are going to be useful to you in your business as you go forward. And as far as who should go, is it the owners? Is it who do you think you send from your dealership?
Honestly, there's a motion for everyone. I mean, you're going to get as much out of that event as you're willing to put into it. I mean, we have breakout tracks that go all the way through the capabilities of a technician, of frontline leadership, of sales, training, enablement, go-to-market strategy, pricing, packaging. There's ownership peer group meetings where they can tap some folks. That everybody wears a badge that says how many IT nations they've been to. I mean, there's a breadth of knowledge that if you're motivated and you're intentional about how you want to approach this event, there's something for everyone. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong person to send. It's what are you looking for to accomplish in your business? Do you have the capability? Do you have the time? And are you willing to set a plan that says, if I go to this event, my goal is to meet two business owners or understand automation or understand AI or cybersecurity? There is a track and a connection for anything if you're intentionally focused on going. If you're more laissez-faire, it's still a great event. But my point is, depending on what your goals are as a business, if it's upskilling a technician, if it's understanding pricing and packaging, if it's understanding the industry trends and what's coming with AI. I mean, it's a large breadth of focus that we're going to cover through vast majorities of expert industry experienced leaders, people that have nothing to do with ConnectWise but are in the space. It's not a ConnectWise event, it's the IT Nation, and it just happens to be ConnectWise as a flagship sponsor of it. It's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I keep phrasing it incorrectly. I apologize, but
Yeah, you're phrasing it correctly.
it's a
I'm doing
fun
Greg
event.
Lawley a favor.
I do really enjoy that event. We'll be down there again as usual, and we're very just happy to be a part of that. It's a good time. I mean, if you're a salesperson, you're going to learn. obviously for the breakouts, but just walking around that floor, seeing different things that you can sell. If you're an owner, you're going to be looking, again, at different partners that you might have, and nothing from nothing, but this is a show with hundreds of IT resellers and managed service providers. Maybe you stumble on someone in your neck of the woods that's you might want to talk to about partnering or even, God forbid, acquiring, right? I mean, everybody's looking to get into this, and one of the easiest ways that a lot of dealers do it is they acquire someone. And I mean, there's a lot of companies at this event and a lot of
Yeah,
conversations that I wouldn't be surprised if you've had some acquisitions come out of these events over the years. Just it's social. Everyone's getting together. Everyone's where are you from? Who do you serve? What do you do? And you have a lot of really great networking events at night. I will confess, last one I bailed pretty early. I feel like I might be getting a little old, but I mean they had just people were having fun. It was just smiles everywhere. Everyone's taking selfies, and then at the end of it, everybody went home with these huge bags full of stuff from all these different companies they can work with, all this information, all these potential partners, and
yeah,
and you're just really you connect everybody at this event. I think you guys do one of the best. It's one of the best events of the year, and it's definitely the best IT event that I go to each year.
that's awesome. And I appreciate that feedback. And something that, I can't agree with you more, obviously, but something that I would say my favorite part of IT Nation is outside of, more or less everything you mentioned. If you walk out of IT Nation and didn't build at least one relationship, you did it wrong. You did it wrong. Talk to the people sitting next to you, talk to the person, sit down with a random individual at a breakfast table. They're at a seat by themselves. You show up, just have conversations, and who knows where they take you, to your point in some of those comments. But at a minimum, you build relationships, and nothing in this world happens without the foundation of a relationship. And at a minimum, if we can be the catalyst to great things to come, because two individuals sat next to each other, shared an idea, and
Yeah,
God knows where they ended up.
yeah.
That's an awesome event.
That's how it happens. That's how, you never know when you put yourself into a situation, you just never know what you're going to get out of it. You're not going to meet anybody sitting home. You're not going to learn anything sitting in your office, not going to this event. If you've been thinking about it, I would say go or send someone on your team. It's only a couple of days. It's in
Yeah.
Tampa. It's not like, it's not the craziest, most expensive city to go to. Um,
Orlando. It's in Orlando,
it's in
but
Orlando.
closer
You're
to
in
you.
Tampa. You're in Tampa. Okay. It's in Orlando, which is even easier to get to.
Yes, and we do have, like I said, Jenna Miner, myself. There's a lot of extensions through ConnectWise. If you're interested in coming to the IT Nation, we'd be more than happy to have you. We have some promotional codes we can leverage to get you there. But whatever the case may be, feel free to reach out to all of us, and we would love to have you there. And if I can just close with one thing on my end, Andy. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate you giving Aziz the time the other day. Great addition to the ConnectWise family and our leadership team to really help align with Channel Vision. He certainly understands the background of what we're trying to do here, as you heard yesterday. And then lastly, McGee, Mike Goldberg, my new leader that oversees this, we have a lot of support and a lot of focus through our GMs, and we're going to execute. We're going to do this well. And I'm excited for everybody that's not interested, but open to it, interested, but struggling. Let me know. I promise I'll find resources to help you. And then lastly, if you're crushing it with us help you do more. That's the goal, right? Everybody, it's an all inclusive approach. I'd be lying if I said there's anybody that's not a good fit in the dealer channel. If they have a focus on managed IT service delivery, we have a solution and a team that can help them do it.
Phil, this has been great. Thanks so much for coming on. We will see you at IT Nation Connect, and we will be sure to put the sign up and contact information for anybody who wants to go to the show. We will put that in the description below the video. Again, Phil, thanks so much. This has been great. Good seeing you. We'll see you down the road at IT Nation Connect.
Appreciate it, Andy. Thank you for your time. Good luck to your Bucks, but go Dolphins.
Go Bucks.